absolutely freezing outside today, and the canal is frozen, the marina is frozen, and the ice is about, what, an inch thick? You checked?
Yeah, about just under an inch thick, so you can say the canal's a little bit crusty, bit creme bruleed.
Every time we move in the boat and it moves slightly, you can hear the ice crunching along the outside. What you doing?
I'm going to stab the ice, see how thick it is.
And because you're a child and you like playing with stuff.
No. Yes. Right. Wow. Look at that. Yeah, I would probably say it's about 6 for an inch.
It's pretty thick.
Yeah. That's fun.
You good?
That was fun. Is it your turn?
I think I'm good. I'm cold. I'm going to go inside and sit by the fire.
Alright then, let's go.
So we thought we'd stay nice and warm inside the boat by the fire, keeping warm, and tell you a little bit about how we bought Andrea Rose and our experience in buying a narrowboat. So in the last video, the last quest vlog video, we talked a little bit about how we came to live in the UK from Australia. So we wanted to talk a bit about what it's like to buy a narrowboat when you haven't lived in the country all your life, so you're an expat or a foreigner. And
we didn't come across loaded with cash. We couldn't just slap down a wad of bills and say, give us the boat.
Definitely not.
No.
We bought Andrea Rose from Venetian Marina, which is up in Cheshire, and she was probably about the 8th or 9th boat that we visited.
Yeah,
we had looked at quite a few.
We'd seen, God, like what, close to 100 online.
We looked at a lot online.
So we decided what we want. We wanted a reverse layout. We started streamlining our search to the basic reverse layout with, like, yeah, we basically said we need a certain size tank, we need a certain type of engine, we need a certain size, layout.
A certain layout, and we always wanted either a cruiser stern or a semi-trad stern. We've never really liked the trad sterns, just because they don't allow you a lot of space at the back when you're piloting, and Ryan's already accident prone, so we didn't want to give him any more reasons to fall overboard.
We wanted to be outside together.
Yes, so a semi-trad or a cruiser stern would have given us, either one of those would have given us that option.
We found Andrea Rose, so she was a 60-foot.
Well, she was advertised as a 58 foot, but on the CRT licensing site she says she's 59 foot and 12 inches, which I'm a bit confused about, because that's
12 inches is a foot.
Yeah, foot. We have measured her, so she is just under 60 foot.
So she was built in 2005 by Dragon Narrowboats, which we couldn't find much information on, because obviously they had shut down by the time we had bought the boat.
But the only thing I could really find on the forums about them was that they build hulls that are like tanks.
Yeah, one of the other things we were a bit strict on ourselves about was the engine as well. We wanted obviously a lower maintenance engine.
Yeah, so we like the sound of the older engines.
Yeah, but
the maintenance
a bit of work. And especially me not being mechanically minded.
Neither of us really.
Obviously being a chef, you know, we went with one that was a little bit easier for us to handle. And luckily this one had the Beta Marine engine.
Yeah, which we've heard nothing but good things about.
Yeah, and it runs quite quietly, and we haven't had any problems with it. And it's been fairly easy to work on. It also had 5 leisure batteries, which is important to us because we're a little bit power hungry. We
like playing our video games on our laptops, so that does take quite a bit of power. So yeah, the 5 batteries are good. However,
we had to replace them all.
it's easy.
Here's Maggie breaking shit in the engine bay.
I'm not breaking stuff. I'm fixing stuff. Hopefully.
She says that.
Ah. Lefty loosey means that way.
I'd get down in there, but unfortunately I'm too fat to fit in the engine bay. And if I did get down there, there's no way I'm coming back out.
Right, how do I... We would like to replace them again in the future
with the
lithium batteries.
Yeah,
They're
but we don't have that kind of cash
like
sitting around at the moment.
to
Well, the plan is to get the lithium batteries and a bit of a solar set up and that.
Yeah, solar as well is one thing that we would definitely like to get soon. But again, we need money for that.
Yeah.
So after we viewed Andrea Rose, we decided that we liked her very much.
Well, I liked it very much. You loved it.
Yeah.
You basically fell in love with it.
I think so. Do you want to come up to you? Alright, up you come. But you have to be good and calm. Okay?
She just looked at the camera and she's like, do I have to?
You have to be on your best behaviour. Okay? Yes, so we loved it. We thought it was more or less perfect for what we wanted. So we wanted to make an offer. However, as expats from Australia, we had little to no credit history. Because we've only been in the country for about 4 years. Or at that point, we'd only been in the country for 3 years. I mean, I could get a loan, but it wasn't for the amount of the boat. Yeah, so that was a hurdle that we had to try and find our way around. And luckily for us, my parents are quite generous. And so we talked to the bank of mum and dad, and they took out a loan on our behalf. On our behalf, so it's in their name. However, we still have to pay the repayments. Yeah. So it's like as if we got a guarantor loan. Yeah. A huge thank you to my parents who helped us get our dream, because we wouldn't have been able to do it without their help in getting a loan out. So we talked to them and they agreed that she looked like a really good boat. And so we went back to the marina and we put down a deposit, and it was on condition of the survey. Yeah. So we organised the survey to get done as soon as possible. We went with Steve Hand. He was very highly recommended in a lot of forums and just word of mouth. Unfortunately, we couldn't go see it, which a lot of people recommended that you do go and see the survey getting done so you can ask questions as the survey's being done. But unfortunately, because of the dry dock situation and workplace health and safety... health and safety, we're not allowed in there when it's happening, which is fair enough. But Steve Hand was really great. He gave us a written report and all the recommendations and all the requirements, and he was more than happy to get on the phone with us and just talk through the survey and answer any questions that we had about it. So it was really good. He did a great job. The survey came back with, it was generally really good, especially the hull, the major components of the boat. There were only a few minor problems like securing the gas cylinders. Yeah, for insurance purposes you have to have the gas cylinders secured in some way, and they weren't like held down by anything. No. So all in all, the survey came back really well, and the major thing that we were concerned about was the hull, because obviously that's a part of the boat that you can't see. So that was the part that we most wanted the information on, and that came back really well. So yeah, and that makes the difference between floating and sinking. So that's one thing you want to be quite good. So we got the funds transferred from Australia, and they cleared about the 14th of February. And so after that point the boat was ours. Yeah. We had a narrowboat, which was very exciting. Yeah. So in the interest of kind of giving you an idea of how much we paid for Andrea Rose, so that you get an idea of how much you might have to pay for a second-hand narrowboat. Instead of just saying it was a lot of money. Yeah. So we paid just over £40,000 for Andrea Rose, and in our opinion,
it's a bargain.
We got a really good deal. We've seen other boats that have been of a similar size, similar layout, similar age, that have gone for over 50,000. So
yeah, we've even seen some that are, in our opinion, worse condition.
Yeah.
And would need more work on them for more money than what we paid.
So we think we got quite a good deal with Andrea Rose. So once that cleared, we had a week's grace period in the marina.
To basically get our boat out.
Yeah. So
but it only took us a few days to go down there and...
Yeah, so we took... we had I think a day off work.
Yeah.
Together. Where we went up and moved the boat out of Venetian Marina and started taking it down south to come closer to where we were actually living at the time.
Yeah.
So we could move aboard.
Exactly.
But that took a while because then the canals froze. So that was our experience with buying a narrowboat, and my parents, who have always been interested in narrowboating, and actually they were the ones that got us into the idea of...
we had a few narrowboat holidays with them, and they were our first taste of canal life.
So they have just bought their own narrowboat as well. Now they still live in Australia, and their plan is to use it as a holiday boat and come across a couple of months of the year and cruise on it then. So we thought we might give you a few tips if you are thinking of buying a narrowboat as either an expat or a foreigner, and some things to watch out for, questions to ask, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously the first thing you should do is research. And
not just on like narrowboats themselves, but also on the whole lifestyle, especially if you're looking to live aboard.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle choice, not just a home.
It's definitely different to living in a house, and there are lots of different aspects to narrowboat life, especially if it's full-time live aboard. Yeah,
so always do your due diligence, your research. There's plenty of forums out there and YouTube channels that you should check out.
Yeah, we started off by watching the YouTube channels. So one of the biggest ones we watched during the years we were looking, about the year that we were looking, and to get our canal fix was Cruising the Cut.
Yep, they're quite good.
He's one of the biggest ones, and his videos are really good, and we loved watching his videos.
He's quite great for like the lifestyle and that.
Yeah,
same with Narrowboat Experience, they're quite good for the lifestyle.
Narrowboat Experience as well. We watched those girls quite a lot. They're very fun to watch. So they were probably the two that we watched the most in the year or so leading up to us. So we'll put the links to those channels down below so you can check them out if you haven't already seen them. Some of the things you might want to think about researching is the length of the boat, especially because on the canals everything is measured by foot and everything is charged by foot. So if you're getting your boat blacked, it's going to be cheaper for a 40-foot boat than it is for a 60-foot boat, because everything is charged by the meter. Same with mooring fees. If you have to moor your boat up, it's going to cost you more for a longer boat than it is for a shorter boat.
Plus, if you're cruising around the network, the longer the boat, the less you can see. There's quite a few locks that are limited to less than 60 foot.
Yeah, exactly. So if you get a boat that's longer than 60 foot,
like one of the 75-foot boats,
72 foot, wherever they are,
there's a few canals you can't go far. And the same with the wide beam boats. Obviously the wide beam boats limit you down to mostly the southern canals that I know of. Yeah,
so you need to sort of consider what the best balance is for you, so how much living space you want and where you want to travel on the network, and how much you kind of want to pay for general maintenance and mooring fees, that sort of thing. So keep that in mind. The other major thing you want to consider is the layout. So we've gone for a reverse layout just because that's what suited us best. We don't have...
Especially since we're continuous cruisers, and most of our time outside moving the boat will be on the back of the boat, and there's two of us, so cruiser stern allows us to both be out there, and the reverse layout allows us to make coffee and lunch and tea.
It allows us easy access into the boat, with it being the kitchen is the first place you enter, so it means easy cups of tea while we're cruising along. Easy snacks.
And I know a lot of people like the traditional layout because they tend to use the well deck to come in and out of their boats.
And it's nice to sit out on the well deck as well when you're
Yeah.
cruising. It can be quite pretty
nice.
and calm. But for us, for our needs, the reverse layout worked best with the cruiser stern, so that we could all be out the back enjoying the cruising.
All three of us.
All three of us
in this
now.
coming cruising season.
So another thing you probably want to consider is the engine. For example, we mentioned that we've got a Beta Marine engine, which is one of the better ones, in our opinion, one of the better ones.
So it's always worthwhile doing your research on the engine. Obviously, it's a major component of your boat.
If you don't have an engine, you're not going anywhere. Biggest thing you should probably do before taking the plunge and buying a narrowboat is actually go on a narrowboat.
Yeah.
Take a narrowboat holiday for a week or two, even just a couple of days, just to get a feel for.
I mean, if you can book like a week holiday would be ideal. We did a couple of holidays with your parents, and that was an eye-opener for us. It was fantastic.
Yeah, so if my parents hadn't come across and done a canal boat holiday, we probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you now. I don't think we would have ever considered living on a boat, but it just entranced us, and we love it.
Yeah.
So try it before you buy it.
Try before you buy it.
Yeah. Most important consideration would be money.
Money. Obviously, that comes down to one of the first things people think about after they decide that they want a narrowboat is cost. Not just the cost of buying the narrowboat. We're more talking about everyone really should consider the cost of living and owning.
Some of the ongoing costs that you probably want to consider if you're thinking about buying a narrowboat, either for liveaboard or holiday, is mooring. So as a liveaboard, if you wanted to keep it in one spot in a marina and just live on it out of the marina, then you'd have to pay the marina fees for the year. And depending on the location and the marina, some marinas don't allow liveaboards, so you'd have to find a marina that allows liveaboards. Yeah,
like a residential marina.
A residential marina, and pay the associated costs with that. And again, like we said before, the length of your boat dictates as well how much you have to pay per foot for your moorings. Then you've got your insurance, which for us was, for a year, I think about £150 for insurance for the boat and contents as liveaboards. However, for my parents, who are using theirs as a holiday boat, they pay, I think around, I think it was about £200 perhaps.
Yeah, a year.
And they've got stipulations on theirs to keep the insurance valid, is that it has to be regularly checked on. So they've got an agreement with the marina that somebody will go and check the boat every month to make sure that there's no leaks, no gas leaks or fire hazards, anything like that, to keep the insurance valid. So it has to be continually checked. Maintenance for the boat, so you have to get your boat blacked every couple of years, you have to get the anodes replaced, just general engine maintenance, get it serviced, or service it yourself every year, and just
fuel,
fuel,
continuous cruiser,
stuff that breaks down, because there's always something that breaks down on a boat. So those sorts of things you have to keep in mind as well, and make sure you got the funds for those. License.
Never forget the license.
You have to have not a license to drive the boat, but you have to have a canal and river license to be able to use the canals, and that is roughly about £1,000 a year that you have to pay to be able to use the canals. Your license kind of pays for like your water points and your LSAM points,
maintenance of the
rubbish points, and maintenance of the canal. So we're quite happy to pay it, because honestly you'd be paying council tax anyway if you lived in a flat.
Yeah, exactly. So we just see it as that we're paying council tax.
So I think that's all of our tips that we can think of.
I mean, if anybody really thinks of anything they desperately need to know anything, you just leave a comment.
We're obviously not experts on the situation and all the different things that could happen or whatever, but we have bought ourselves a boat and we have helped our parents buy a boat because they were still in Australia, so we were going and visiting the boat in their stead and reporting back to them. So we do have a bit of experience in buying boats. Looking at boats
with someone else is quite funny.
Quite fun because
we're like, our boat's better than that. Or, oh, we don't have that. I wish we had that on our boat.
The boat is quite nice on the inside. It's very, very modern.
Yeah.
Very modern looking. They got the nice white walls
that
we want.
Yeah, we want that.
And they have a nice kitchen bench.
And they have a nice walk-through bathroom.
They have a walk-through bathroom, which we want. It's a nice boat. It was a little bit more expensive than ours.
It was quite difficult looking for a boat for Maggie's parents, considering the fact that her father is, like, as far as I'm concerned, 9 foot tall.
He's 6'4", so narrowboats don't often have that much headroom, and that was one of the reasons they were looking at this particular boat, was because it had the headroom, which allowed him to stand up without a crick in his neck all the time.
Bonking his noggin.
Bonking his noggin, yeah. If you've liked this video, please give us a like and subscribe if you've really enjoyed it, and
we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, Pixel.
What you doing, Pixel?